The changing landscape of the housing market in Las Vegas requires a real estate professional that understands how to get your offer accepted, willing to go above and beyond for service and accountability. Hi, my name is Dan French. I've been in the real estate and financing industry for over 13 years. Most real estate agents struggle with answering their phone. Please call me directly, 702-557-6176. I'm available for all your real estate needs.
Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
And what's going on, everybody? It's Saturday morning. Thank you guys so much. This is the French Workbench Podcast here. We're tuning live. Well, not live. I guess live. Here on a Saturday. What's going on? I got a full crew here today. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening here in the housing market. We're going to talk about what's going on with prices and how they're sustaining themselves. Up 18% across the country, right, year over year. So that's something we're going to look at. We're also going to talk to Brett about what's happening in his world of real estate. And we're going to talk over here with Doug Liebig about what's happening in the home inspection sector. I also want to bring up that we do have a lot of information we're going to bring up on the rental sector, and also investors investing another $500 million into homes, building 2,500 new homes in the single-family residence sector across the country. So, I'm your host, Dan French. You guys know this is the most real behind-the-scenes information on financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs happening here in Las Vegas. Let's go over to Brett. Brett, what's going on, buddy?
And go. Usual suspects this morning, isn't it?
Usual
I look
suspects.
across the room. Usual bullshit.
What's going on, buddy?
Nah,
How
man,
are ya?
it's hot. It's hot. I can't even go for my runs now. Or I say I can, but then I burn up. So, man, it's like 110. We had an awesome August, right? I mean,
Dude,
in the
it was-
13 years I've been here, this August was probably by far the most mild. And man, did it make up for that in the last week and continuing in the next week.
Monsoon, baby. I mean, I'm telling you right now, monsoon.
But right now with the heat,
Oh, it's like, I think until next Tuesday or Wednesday.
112 something.
110 plus. You heard that too, Doug?
Yeah, I was down in Laughlin yesterday. It was 115.
Right. Like
Wow.
you don't
Yeah, I know, right?
you don't need to ask Doug. He's been out doing inspections in it. You can just feel Doug when he's done because he's
Radiate-
melting like a witch. on,
Radiation.
Wizard of Oz.
You get radiation poisoning.
You guys know Doug. So let's kind of dive into this, man. Las Vegas, it's we're looking at Labor Day coming up. You got a 4-day weekend now, and this is the start here since it's
And
Saturday.
official end of summer, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then everybody always says, well, this is the time for fantasy football and football starting. I think it's, really people look into this and look forward to this. And it's like, I know a lot of people that are like, okay, this is kind of the start
Labor
of the
Day.
of the Labor Day of
So-
the football season.
People need to keep in mind too that as of today, you can no longer wear white with white.
What does that mean?
That's Labor Day rules. You've never heard that?
You can't wear white with white.
I've never heard that.
You've never heard you can't. Oh, come on.
So that
man.
means you can't wear white clothes
You
because you're
can't
white.
wear like a white shirt with a white pants.
That's really kind of.
You've never.
Let me ask you a
Come
question
on,
about
man.
Brett, when is the last
Like
time?
even from the Midwest farm country,
When is
like
the
we've heard
last
of that.
time?
You act like I'm a fashionista, dude, from Wisconsin. Am I coming out to the West Coast and running your guys' game?
Dude, when is the last time you've wore white pants?
Never. I'm just saying. You guys
Dude,
have
I think
never heard that.
That was like an 80s
Man,
thing,
come
wasn't it? Like that
on.
was
That was neon. That was back in the neon days, right?
absolutely
Yeah,
was.
man.
Yeah.
Those are neon bracelets and
Yeah,
stuff. You
neon
remember
bracelets.
watches?
And
Dude, you know what's the hardest
Neon
thing about wearing
shorts.
white is it's hard. You want to try to not make it dirty. Every time I'm like, all right, I'm not going to eat with my white clothes, like my white shirt or whatever it is. Every time there's some little stain or
Of course.
dirt, and you're just like, where did I get that?
It's the laws of attraction. That's, guarantee it.
yeah,
A lot of good information going on out there in the housing sector. Also, what's going on in Las Vegas? Las Vegas, people are just coming here. We had the highest amount of people come here since COVID this last weekend, I believe is what it was, or the last couple of weeks.
Oh, you mean like for tourists?
do you have,
I thought you
do
meant.
you have numbers on the people moving out as well as moving in?
Or are you talking about people moving in versus out? He's just talking about tourists.
Yeah, tourist. Okay.
Tourism.
Just
yeah.
coming in for the
I
weekend.
can tell you one thing is that if you ever go on YouTube, right, and you start looking at some of these videos, they're starting to market where California is saying, hey, this is what's great about California, because that mass exodus of Californians, now they're trying to get these people back. I don't know if you guys have seen that on YouTube.
So here's my theory, man. You guys in California are spoiled. You get to grow up in paradise weather.
Oh yeah.
And paradise in a lot of things. Okay, we don't get oceans, we don't get beautiful scenery, beautiful people, beautiful everything like the West Coast does in the Midwest. So you got to ask yourself, man, how bad did we get where people want to leave that place? Like you've got to do some shit to your people to have them want to leave paradise.
Well, and it's pretty much the coastal areas too, because I mean, there's a lot of inland areas that are kind of like Vegas. You know, it's out in the desert. This is the high desert. You know, Riverside out that. I don't really go up north that much.
Well, I mean,
but,
look how much more space you can get for a home, just in general.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, dude, I have a couple friends who are realtors in Southern California. My buddy just listed a house, a 2-bedroom house in Compton for $550.
Ooh. That was the place to buy in the 80s, man. That's a lot of guys were buying back in the 80s and 90s.
Well, maybe not the 80s, and you mean like NWA Compton? I don't know about that.
Well, no, that's
what is NWA Compton? I'm not sure. What does that mean?
I don't know.
NWA?
Yeah, what does that stand for?
No,
I have no idea. Not a clue. It
does it have something to do with the color of your clothes?
Yeah,
Anyways.
I have no idea what it means.
Much love.
Beats me.
So, but I want to say this. So, you know, you look at the mass exodus of California. So I'm like, good one there, Brett.
I ain't saying shit.
That's all right, man. That's all right. I got you. So mass exodus of California. And so you look at Californians and they're saying, well, why would you not move? I don't think it's everybody hates California. There's just, you got to make a choice, right? And I think with everything that's happening, the choice is, well, I either stay here and kind of, you know, suffer through it or try to work through it. Right, and try to figure it out. For a lot of families, there's a lot of families that can sustain it, but it's still. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
That's what I mean. I'm not saying that people leaving California and you've got to get things bad when people leave. I'm not saying they're leaving it because they hate California.
No.
Right.
If anything, they don't want to leave.
It's
but
like
you're forcing their hand. You're giving them too good of a scenario on the other side of the mountain, so to speak, and you can still basically have the same environment. And that's really what it comes down to, which is, you're literally squeezing out your own people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like you're mandating electric cars and then you're getting power.
Things like that, man.
Yeah.
So
the Cromwell also, I want to bring this up. So just to kind of move past that, we have a large amount of people coming here for Labor Day. And I heard that it was down to one lane because of all the monsoon
on the I-15.
On the I-15.
Oh wow!
Now I don't know if remember if it's coming to Vegas, but I think it is coming to Vegas. But everything's down to one lane, or it could be exiting. But if it's coming to Vegas, man, I'm not coming.
So how many times? let me ask you this, man, because I'm sure you've made the trip many times coming from Southern California to Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Aren't there any back roads?
Yeah.
Because I'm watching it, and it like clockwork every holiday weekend that people need to head back to California, it's backed up for like 15, 20 miles sometimes. And I'm thinking, aren't there some back roads that it's like, the end of the day, how much longer can it take you?
29 stumps, can't you?
Well, let me say this, though. You
Go
might take a back
Redlands
road and
or-
not come back because of how hot it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might be up in
Well,
Death Valley.
I mean, so there's
You
nothing
don't
that
know.
kind of runs congruent with the
No,
I-15?
there is. But here's my thing is that when you're in unfamiliar territory and you have nobody around you, and I'm not saying that there's nobody, but you're taking a road that you're not familiar with.
See, that's where I'm country.
It's a little sketchy.
That's
because
what, I wouldn't even think that's where I'm country. I wouldn't even think twice.
What if you have no
Why
cell
are you
phone?
sitting in traffic, Southern California? What do you mean? It's not a big deal. Dude,
But what if
I
you have no
literally go
cell phone?
insane.
You go out on those side roads, you have no cell phone. You'd have to flag somebody down, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's your death sentence, but
you can do like
it
I
is-
did one
it is a
time
little-
and just follow the power line road all the way up about
Yeah,
10
I
miles.
mean-
So
I get
all the
that you're
traffic.
going in a desolate direction or desolate areas, but like I said, there's nothing that runs kind of alongside it, maybe a few miles off to the right or left, or I mean, there's got to be, because
Something.
sitting in traffic for 30 miles deep just blows
That's
my
hours.
mind. That's insane to someone from the Midwest. That's absolutely insane.
So here's what I say is I say that if you
It
guys are
is.
coming out to Las Vegas, hopefully you guys have fun. Hopefully you're safe. So I think there's going to be a lot of people coming here for Labor Day, especially now we've seen the highest number of tourism and people coming here to Las Vegas. California, is just right down the way. So,
well, if nothing else, you got all the people that are moving here from there, and then you got families coming out there to see them on a weekend on a
not to mention the normal tourism.
Yeah, normal tourism, and so I have a feeling we're gonna see quite an uptick.
Other thing too is the Cromwell just had somebody win $123,000. Starting to hear a lot of these numbers. And
1, 2, 3.
Uncle Sam's going to take his cut, right?
Were they a local?
I don't know about that news, but I know that's a big number for like if anything above, like if you get to 6 digits on a win, that's a pretty big deal. I think that's a huge deal.
So
but again,
that's a good marketing tool though too.
That's what I'm saying. Right?
You got to have a big winner once in a while for that, right?
Yeah.
Do you gamble ever?
Never.
Do you do sports betting or gambling at all?
Nope. Well, every once in a while. I guess I'll play the blackjack tables, but that's about it.
I trade a little bit of crypto. That's gambling enough. But
I play the penny stocks. That's a hell of a gamble right there.
Are you guys? Let me ask you this other question. Are you guys into football at all? Because I know it's starting. Like first, are you?
Just had my fantasy draft last night.
Oh, you did?
Yep. And my draft got rated an A+. Thank you.
Okay. Did the computer do it for you?
No, dude. I got some sweet players this year.
Who's your quarterback?
Who's my quarterback?
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Oh, okay.
He's got one more good year left in him.
Right.
Okay.
Who's your running back? He doesn't. The computer did it.
No, I can't think off the top of my head, dude. It was my keeper from last year. I can't.
Who's your
who
team?
it was.
I don't do the fantasy football.
Do you watch football?
Dude, it's fun.
Not really.
No, I don't really
It's
have
fun
time.
'cause
I don't
man.
have the time to watch it, honestly.
It's
Like,
fun because it
it's
gives
like-
you don't need to watch.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to
Yeah.
I'll
like
catch up
football,
on
but
scores. I love college ball.
Yeah.
I'll catch up on scores on the weekends, but
that might change, man. They're starting to get paid. You know what happens when you start getting a paycheck?
I saw that.
You're not gonna
Dude,
have the
college
same.
sports will never be the same, man.
I don't think so. The efforts may not. Hey, and you know what, man? Good for them. Whatever everybody wants to say, but at the same time, if you're going, I never watched it.
It changes the game, but at the same point, man, those athletes were getting ripped off. Like, I understand they're getting a free education, but dude, they're bringing millions to a school, dude, millions.
Yeah.
Like, that's getting ripped off, man. So I understand that point of view too. But then where's that line?
Yeah.
I mean,
who do you owe?
Listen, if you can get millions in college, who really cares about going pro?
And Brett, you also have a story I want to talk about because you said some stuff happened where there was a lady or ladies.
Oh yeah,
stealing.
I read. So since we're talking about kind of local news, I read a story about, again, you've heard this many times out here, of a lady of the night.
What does that mean? Does that mean
that
you
basically
pay
got a guy
something?
Yeah,
or?
lady of the. She loves the night. She does well in the night.
Do you search for these ladies at night?
She does magic in the night. Anyways, so the infamous tourist was in town. She got a guy drunk. And got him up to his room and ended up stealing like a $15,000 Rolex.
Ooh.
And she ended up getting busted, and this was like her third or fourth time in probably like the last 2 years that she's been arrested for this. Rick Rollin', I think they call it. I don't know, Rick Roll. But anyways, it's kind of, listening to that, I've had plenty of clients that have been cops and Metro out here, and they used to tell me stories all the time where they'll be working the strip area, and the Wynn or some casino will call them and say, hey, we have a gentleman down here that's reporting a theft. You need to come. So the cops will come there and they'll start taking the guy's statement. He's like, listen, I had this girl, I had her up to my room, and then she ended up taking my Rolex, and she took like another $10,000. And they said, okay, we're filling out the report right now. Just so you know, this police report is going to be filed publicly, and there's probably going to be someone from Metro that's going to be calling your house to go over things a little bit further.
If you do that, are you on the black book? Like, do you get I heard something that the black book somebody
let me finish my story quick.
Okay.
So long and short of it is, the cops would always say to these guys, listen, just so you know, this is going to be a public police report that's filed publicly, and just so you know, your wife is probably going to find out about this report. Do you still want to press charges? They would literally say it to him like that, and they would say, oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm sorry, gentlemen. I didn't mean to waste your time coming here. And that's where the girls know they can get you.
Oh.
Because that Rolex is cheaper than a divorce.
Dude, there was somebody too. It's kind of funny. So the black book, you know what I mean? The casinos have
So,
the black
yeah,
book.
that-
Which somebody, because look, they're doing this at the casinos, right? They're not doing it like down Tropicana. They're doing it at a casino and probably at a high-end casino where you have high-end people that are spending money, right? So that's probably what's going on.
A situation like that, they're not going to blacklist you, but that one guy that they did was basically a pimp.
Well,
he was a sex trafficker.
Yeah.
He was a known pimp that had been arrested for that like 3 or 4 times, and finally the casino said, you know what? Normally we reserve the blacklist for gamblers, but we're taking it over to this guy because he's that much of a menace to the casinos.
Yeah.
Another thing too, man. I was gonna. What were you gonna say, Doug?
We had a gal one time, Buddy and I were playing craps tables, and this gal, she was working it hard, man. It's like he was doing really well. I mean, I'm not all that great at craps, but he was doing well. I mean, that guy has numbers running through his head. He could figure it out, and he started raking it in. And
he's like Rain Man.
Oh yeah, he was like
25, 6 Kmart underwear, 26.
Yeah, and this gal, she was like on his right, and then went to the center of us, and then she's working it.
They know what they do.
Oh yeah.
They are very good at getting a man to detach himself from his money.
And I just want to know who are they? No, I just want to get. So
remember that story you told me when you first came to town?
They're
you went on that bender. This guy was like
entrepreneurs,
standing around with his pants off. Oh.
So I want to go over to another subject here. So the black book, there was a gentleman that got, I guess they weren't enforcing it as much, but he went into a casino. He got arrested. I guess he was numerous times. He's been, caught, or not caught, but just,
pimping
felonies, and not just pimping. I think he just, I don't know what it is. I think it's the gambling related, maybe. I don't know.
No, it was
all pimping.
All sex crimes. Like it literally was a bunch of times in the row, and it was enough of a circumstance that they just said, forget it. We normally don't do this for someone who's not a gambler, but we're gonna do it for him. So now he's can't go anywhere on casinos. I think that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Can't go anywhere on casino premises.
Yeah.
So I also want to move over. One last thing on this local news thing we're talking about is there was actually a lady running for a city office. I'm not going to say who it was, but she got caught for a DUI, and that's got to be the worst, man.
Was it?
Yeah, she had like some alcohol. And I don't want to say, but she had some alcohol in the car.
Because we can't read it in the news, dude.
Well, it's just
everyone right now listening is like Google.
Here's my thing,
Yeah.
though.
Las Vegas,
not only did they get caught,
Pelosi's
not only did she
husband.
get caught, but she got blasted, and it's like, dude, it's like only in Vegas where you're gonna probably have. No, I wouldn't say only in Vegas, but she got caught, and it's like you have everything with drinking and driving.
Well, I mean,
this is a state, man. You just can't get away from it, right?
To be fair, have you tried Las Vegas politics?
Is that part of it? Is like you have to drink to do that?
If you're not drinking, you're doing your politics wrong. Thank you. I'll be in town all week.
So anyways, let's go also to, Brett, you have something to talk about on crypto, right? So let's bring that up. I know there's real quick topic. Go ahead.
So Ethereum 2.0 merge is happening. I think it should be next week. So what that means is they're going from a proof of work to a proof of stake. What that means is the way that Ethereum is validated takes a lot of power and a lot of work. So the amount of power that Ethereum consumes in a year on the network to run is about the amount of power that Finland has in a year. What this is going to do is it's going to take down the power consumption on it 99.9%.
Do you think that would shoot it past Bitcoin?
No.
Okay.
Because for other reasons, Bitcoin's a granddaddy of them all. That's a whole nother conversation. But so what this means is proof of work means that when they want to validate something on the Ethereum network, it's a bunch of computers around the world working to solve a complicated math problem. But that takes a lot of energy to do because they're all trying to solve the same huge math problem. This takes a bunch of people who now own it and puts them off to the side. And now to get validated, you just need to go to the small group versus have to have all these computers around the world run. So what it does is it makes it 10 times quicker and 10 times cheaper and 10 times less and 10 times more efficient. The way comparison I like to give it, which is if you're out east in the 1800s and you wanted to move out west, you'd have to take a horse and buggy. Now you can take a jet.
Wow.
You're trying to accomplish
That's quite the
going out west Back then, you're trying to accomplish going out west now. Back then, all you had for your vehicles, the best at hand, were a horse and buggy. Now with technology, you can get out there 10 times quicker and 10 times safer.
Maybe a train, not a jet, right?
But you get what I'm saying is now you can accomplish the
Just
same
kidding.
goal 10 times quicker,
Yeah.
and 10 times cheaper. So
What about a
it's a
hypersonic
huge
missile?
deal. That too. Yep. it's a huge deal because when Ethereum was created in 2015, 7 years ago, they didn't know it was going to have the volume that it has now. And so now it's really expensive to send from one person to another, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of power. So they had to upgrade in a sense to make it a lot cheaper, a lot quicker, and a lot more energy efficient.
Send one to another. So there's an algorithm that says when this transfer goes from, let's say, me to you
on the blockchain.
Yep. That the amount of power that it takes to take that transfer because of the math equation or the math.
Yes, it's sending it. Somebody wants to send something from point A to point B. The network is the middleman that confirms it. The middleman who confirms it, which is the blockchain. Are all a bunch of computers that have to solve a complicated math problem in order to validate it. That's why, because not just anybody can validate it. That's what makes it safe.
Okay.
Is that it's so complicated that it can only be validated this way.
So is there really any way to hack that stuff? I mean, I hear
no.
Okay.
Well, let's put it this way. It's like Bitcoin. Everyone says, well, you can't hack Bitcoin in a sense of this. In order to hack Bitcoin and overtake it, you would need to overtake 51% of the power of the network. Okay? It's the longest running, biggest network in the world. So in order to do that, you would have to take the biggest supercomputer in the world right now and times it by like 100. And you would still not have enough power that it would take to hack into it. And even if you did, the second that you tried hacking into it, the network would say something's wrong here. And everybody in the network would know that it's being hacked. And now everything you're hacking into, now Bitcoin's worth zero. So you spent trillions of dollars of what it would take to hack into something that is now worth zero because everybody knows you hacked into it.
So do you think that the reports of it being hacked at one point?
It's not.
Okay.
People can hack into trading websites. Or trading platforms.
Like a Coinbase or something like that.
But they can't they're not actually hacking into the network.
Okay. All right.
It's like
good info.
You can't hack into the Federal Reserve, but you can hack into Chase Bank. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay.
Because if you hacked into the Federal Reserve, then everybody's going to say that the Federal Reserve isn't really the Federal Reserve.
Exactly.
Probably have
the belief behind it is not there anymore then. Then it's worthless.
So that means like printing money out of thin air is really just
exactly. When people say, "Oh, Bitcoin is," I'm like, okay, so your belief system's behind first of all a rock because that's what gold is. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, how stupid does it sound when I explain it that way?
Yeah.
So let's get into the meat and potatoes here, and
we know we're on the next segment now.
So let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the housing market and where we're at with the appreciation and also prices. So home prices year over year still up 18%. They were down 11%, or they were up 11%, excuse me, in July. So now you're looking at this saying, well, why are prices still up, right? What's going on? Supply and demand. We saw a lot of this happening where you see the market cooling off, and yet it just seems that housing economics and everything that we see out there, people are still out there looking to buy. Now, I think there's a lot of pushback where people are like, well, it's not the same, Dan. It's not the same out there. Yes, it's definitely not the same. We're not saying that the buyers are out there and they're just, they're coming in droves, right? They're coming out, and I think they're more dabbling into the market, not necessarily pulling the trigger.
They're starting to get their feet wet now, a little
it's
bit.
Not even, it's not even like, hey, man, this is a big story here.
So,
it's not.
Dude, you had for the last 2 years, it's like there's the lake, right? And you got everybody, and they got a start gun. They go, and everyone's chucking through the beach, heading for that water. And then all of a sudden, the Fed came over and threw up a big ass wall, and everyone said, "Whoa!"
Exactly.
There's a big ass wall.
Yeah.
And then everybody just stopped and was like,
dude, the water
holy cow! There's no more water. I was just ready to run into this huge pool of water. There's no more water, and people just stood there in amazement, like, how did that happen out of nowhere?
Right.
And now the water's starting to come back a little bit, and people are kind of dipping their feet in, saying, all right, it's wet, it's cold.
That's because of all the monsoons.
Yeah, this is what water feels like. Yeah.
So what I was thinking about, and you're absolutely right on that, is the water did shut off, and you're
just like Lake Mead.
Right. You're starting to see, more days on the market now. Across the country, it's like 17, 18 days. You do see that overall home sales are down, even in the Midwest, 14%. I think nationally it's like over 30%. But you're seeing things slow down. And what I'm looking at is, with the whole market and how many days on the market, are you seeing that we're now hitting that 30 days? Because we even look on this now, I feel like we're following in suit with what's going on with the national days on the market, which is 18 days. Now, go ahead.
What I'm seeing is yes, but it's with the condition. The homes that are on the market easily 30 days, and I say that by it's all the same kind of property that I've noticed. I'm not saying other properties aren't above 30 days as well, but by and large, the most that I see that are 30 days and beyond are the properties that like Open Door bought and tried to flip it real quickly, or but basically buy your home like directly, iBuyers.
Well,
a lot of those I'm seeing, those are the ones that are saying they're more in 30 days, and also people who tried to get that quick flip in. So for the last couple of years, they made a lot of good money with their flips when they put it back on the market, because not only was it a rehab property, but the market in those 2 months had gone up. Yeah. So now you're seeing those homes for flippers that are seeing they're well beyond 30 days now too. Those are the primary ones.
I've done like 3 Open Doors. I hadn't done any for quite a while, and I heard that Zillow,
Open Door, all of them.
Yep. I heard they weren't doing all that great.
They're not.
Okay,
but I mean, Zillow's, you got to kind of separate Zillow from the rest of them, because these other companies like Open Door, they were always an iBuyer company. That's how they were set up from day one to run and operate. Zillow has been a tech company that just lately got into the iBuying game because they knew they could make some money. So they weren't really set up for it and didn't really have a game plan on what happens if things start decreasing. So they kind of got caught with their pants down.
But they had other revenue streams coming in.
Yeah, because that wasn't their primary business. But these other iBuyers, they'll be fine.
Okay.
They'll be fine.
Well, I want to say, too, you look at this, and we always talk about the psychological impact on sellers, buyers. Well, I always talk about buyers. Let's talk about sellers a little bit. So sellers want to sell their house, and we've seen the number of listings slow down a bit as far as coming on the market. We see the numbers as far as new listings. Now, why is that happening? Well, anytime we see that interest rates, mortgage rates have now creeped at 6% or higher, they're sitting there thinking, well, if I sell my house, now I got to take on that rate. And do I really want to take on that payment as well? Right? But, go ahead.
That's almost like the similar scenario that they've had for the past year or two, which is, okay, I'm selling my house at a record price right now, but then when I go to buy, I'm paying $50,000 over for the house I'm buying. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, just a different version.
It's true, but it's like you can't win. It's almost like
I know.
It's like one thing leads to another, and I don't know. Some of these sellers I think are unrealistic on their house. We have sellers out there that I know for a fact that talking to them, they don't want to do price reductions. They don't want to offer extra incentives, bonuses. That's what's happening, right?
Here's a problem you're having right now is you have sellers who think it's last year and you have buyers think it's next year. You do. And you have that contrast right now. Both are figuring out where the market's at right now. But you still have sellers mentality, which is where it was last year. But then you have buyers thinking it's already next year and things are already worked themselves out. And you literally have two completely different, not on the same page mentalities that are kind of dueling it out right now to figure out what the market is.
I hear it. Just doing home inspections.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hear it.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the home inspection part of it. So sellers look at that, and then when it dipped back to 5%, I don't know, it's weird. It's like they said that it slows down as well. And I'm not really sure why. When rates go from that high all the way down, you would think that they would go and pull the trigger. But I almost think that sometimes people out there buying houses, they're looking at it going, well, if it's dropped this quick, this fast.
That's exactly the mentality.
Let's take a couple more weeks, maybe a month and a half, and see if it keeps going down. So it's like this whole up and down.
That's exactly what I was saying. Right. Is buyers think, oh, that's next year's at it. It's already there. It's already next year where it's already worked things out, which I think how long it'll take. Buyers already think we're already there. which is, oh, well, it's already dropping. It's going to drop and keep on dropping. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying is they're trying to figure out, and the sellers are trying to figure out, where is that price point right now?
Absolutely.
Well, did the Federal Reserve raise the rates again, right?
Well, no, that's going to be in September.
September, okay.
So that's
All right.
they will. I'm pretty confident they will.
Okay.
They had the symposium now.
They said they were going to raise it like 6 or 7 times this year, and they've only raised it like 3 or 4, right?
Well,
So-
but
Yeah, but
raised it
boy, did they raise it.
Yeah, aggressively, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Aggressively.
They went hell broke.
And we always talk like where rates will go. They could go 7-8%. They could, right? I think they're going to settle off. We're not going to see rates where we saw them in 2021, where they were down at that 2% range. But going
Let
back,
people keep in mind that those were historic, right? People need to.
well, the Fed was manipulating.
I
it too.
understand, but today interest rates for what they were was historically the lowest they've ever been, correct?
Yeah, I mean that's
So-
historically yes.
If
that's
you're the
lowest.
consumer, that's all you care about.
Also, so you're looking at these numbers are coming from the S&P CoreLogic Shiller Index. The national home price is growing 18% year over year. Now, there's 1,310,000 homes on the market for sale right now. That's listed.
How many? 1.3?
1.3. It's not bad, right? I mean, that's higher than we've seen. And also, too, everybody thought, well, having these listings on the market, that's just going to completely correct the market. Folks, we're not there yet. It's going to take maybe 6 months, maybe a year before we really start to see this balancing act. And also, too, we're going to have to see what's happening with this inflation, some of the data that after they raise this next one, what's really going to be the
TBD.
outcome. Yeah, it's TBD. I mean, we can't say that. But, one of the things is that I was always, well, if they raise supply, because that's the whole supply-demand thing, I do feel that we're going to start to see more of, people coming in the market that maybe we're not buying, but yet they still are sitting on the sidelines. You're still not seeing that influx. I mean, we're starting to see things kind of come in, and I think people get this misconception that we're saying this market's on fire.
Here's kind of a combo of things that's happened in the last couple of months, which is you literally had the market stop out of nowhere. And when I say stop, I mean I've done this 17 years, and I've seen the changes and the transitions, but never where it just literally 1 week to the next completely just stopped. So that threw everyone off guard in a sense. And then you had school starting. So no one's really thinking about moving or selling during that time. So now you combine both of them together, and we've had the last 2 or 3 months. And now that both those things are kind of over with, is you're going to see people start coming back into the market, but it's not going to be overnight, and it's going to be slowly. So in my mind, we're going to be probably the beginning of next year, maybe early next spring, before things really start to get back to a normal market where buyers and sellers feel comfortable and realtors are like, okay, I'm finally starting to make money again.
Yeah.
So that's what I see. It's going to probably take another 4 or 5 months.
Well, I also want to bring up, too, that, we look
Maybe
at
6.
this, maybe 6, right? So we look at a few things here, and I want to bring up, too, that, when you're talking about home research, you're talking about what's happening with sellers. Let's go into the psychological position sellers are in right now. So sellers are looking at it going, well, I listed my house at list. I'm not asking for above. Now it's a competition of how much can I reduce it? What can I offer to these buyers?
What makes my house stand out? Now we're back to a normal market, which is what about my house stands out in the neighborhood to make it sell among the competition?
Yeah.
Not just I put it on the market. That's why.
Well, you got the whole staging thing and all that stuff too, right?
Well,
For
price.
vacant houses.
At the
and
end of the
price
day,
and-
I mean, that has something to do with it. But
Yeah.
if you've got 5 homes in a neighborhood and they're give or take within the same kind of condition, I mean, you're going to take the one that's cheaper probably, unless one has like something you're specifically looking for in the backyard.
So
or something,
you brought up
know.
that the challenges of selling a house today, and you're like, you know what, this is the highest. Like I've talked to other agents, right, in the fields, and they're like, this is the one market that, and these are seasoned agents. This is the one market where, because we don't have a boom like we did, back then. We don't. We have really our credit, worthiness today is really good. But these agents are like, this water was just shut off, right? It's the most different market. They've never seen a market where it's gone really, like you said.
Yeah.
Everything's going full steam, and usually it slows down.
And how long are these agents that said that been doing it?
27, 30 years in the business.
Yeah, I've been doing
right?
it 17, so exact same thing. It just
Right.
literally, boom, dude. Like I'm like, holy shit! Thanks for the warning.
It just hit a wall, right?
I mean, like,
And so I want
Crash test
to
dummies.
talk a little bit about the seller part of it. So if you're listing a house today, what are you advising people when you're listing this house? If you're listing it to get, because you're trying to get their best deal, but you have to be real with it too.
So the first conversation I have is, what's your scenario? Do you need to move out of here ASAP? Do you need to get back home because there's an emergency?
Right.
Did you inherit the property from someone that passed and you just want to get some quick money? Or, hey, you know what? This is going to be a slow, methodical process. I've got time to sell this and make it do. Then I would say whatever your scenario is based off of that. So if you've got some time, then I would say we take, what the average list price is right there. I wouldn't go by sells because normally you go and list a property and say, well, this is what has sold in the past 3 months. Well, I can't really take something that sold 3 months ago because that's not going to sell for that price now.
Yeah.
So I want to take the ones that have recently received an accepted offer and say, well, there's 6 listings here. 2 of them received accepted offers. Why did these 2 receive them and these 4 didn't? And then that's what we're going to zone in on. And, it also comes down to how much do you owe, even though a lot of people have a lot of equity in it now. That's also a conversation as well. So, I mean, listen, if they've got a little bit of time and at the same point, we are coming, in September, we've got probably another month or 2 of good sales time. And then we're going to come into the holidays of Thanksgiving. And so if you've got time.
And those could be,
I would say this, we should list it at this price.
Yeah.
And you need to have an open mind about doing a price drop about every 2 weeks.
Yeah, but what if they're saying, well, you know what, I don't have to go anywhere. And look, like you said, it's at the beginning, but then you're sitting on it. Does it make you look bad as a realtor? I feel like as a realtor, it makes you look bad. Not terrible, but you're not selling this house and it's just sitting there. And is that a reflection?
It looks bad to your client, the seller. I mean, because no one else cares. I mean, your client's the one that's paying you. They care. But at the end of the day, in a market like this, it is what it is. Is if your house is listed at a certain price and it's still not selling, you got to be willing to drop the price.
How about this? How about offer more money to the buyer agent too? You know what I mean? Like if you're coming in,
there's lots of different ways of doing it on the back end like that too, where you incentivize them. Absolutely. I would say, listen, we can list it at this price where everything else is, but if we offer, say, an extra $3,000 bonus to the buyer's agent, that's capitalism. I mean, that's how agents work. I'm just going to be honest with you. So whatever you can do, there's a lot of little things that you can do that I can do on the side, underneath it all that kind of adds on a little extra spice,
Let's
to
be
bring
honest
attention.
too. Let's be honest about this. So realistically, does anybody ever really get what they want to sell their house for? I mean, I've sold
the last 2 years, every seller has.
Well, let me say this. So listen, does everybody really there's always a number though that people want. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, you might exceed it, you might win it. But let's say if you're in that, you're in that market, and let's say you wanted to get $80,000 above or $60,000 or $50,000. Hold on, that's what I'm saying. Is whatever market it is, the seller always wants more because it's their asset. Is what I'm trying to go.
Believe me, I understand
and I
that.
think and there's nothing wrong with it, but it just seems it's very. I would say there's probably a 60-40 or 70-30 that 70% of the time they may not get exactly what they want for it. I mean, you still maybe profit or get above list, but you're not going to get, even in that market, hey, I want 50 above. Well, you might only got 30. Yeah, you still got above.
Wow.
But you know what I'm saying? That's kind of, that's what
I mean, I wouldn't say that, dude. They wanted what list price was, and they got 30 above. So, I mean, if you got to complain, dude, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, you're entitled.
So now it's completely right, though. But now you look at today, and it's like, well, now you have to really take your lumps a little bit.
You have to understand the gravity of the situation now.
Right.
And that's about educating the seller about what is going on with the market right now.
It's called the
This
come
is
to
not
Jesus,
last
right?
year. This is this year.
Yeah.
This is the way it is now.
And we talked about this.
Yes.
Highest rates we haven't seen in the last, 5-10 years.
Listen, just be honest with them. Sellers aren't stupid, dude. They see what's going on
Fed's
in the news.
fund rate going up, inflation going up, right? All of these combinations. So I think the seller agents have to really, really educate, like you said.
Absolutely.
But the sellers also have to be realistic. And I'm not saying, but if you just list the house and you make no adjustments,
Dude,
you got to pivot.
If you're just randomly throwing darts at the board, you're a lot better aiming to hit bullseye, man. You know what I mean? To have a game plan. So it's like anything in life. You got to have a game plan. You got to be realistic about what's happening and be educated.
So you list a house, and we'll go off this topic because we got to keep moving here. But we go off that topic and say, okay, before we go off the topic, you look at the listings. Let's say somebody lists in that area. Mm-hmm. And now you were the lowest at that time. Now all of a sudden you're the highest because there's 4 other you, and you just see price reduction. What do you do? What do you advise somebody at that?
I have a conversation with my seller and say, guess what the latest and greatest is? not in our favor. But I have an honest conversation with them.
Right.
And I say, listen, you don't need to do anything you don't want to do. I'm just telling you based off of my advice. And if you want to sell it, you need to sell it. This is the adjustments we need to start doing. If you can't really go any lower and you're not really in a rush to sell, then we just keep it as is what it is. But you know what's going on and you know what your competition is. So I can do a great job. I just can't perform miracles.
Well, I mean, I go along those lines, but a lot of times too, when you're listing and you have somebody like that, I'm advising like, hey man, if you're doing a contingent offer, guess what? Then you might have to look. If you're just selling and you don't need the money, cool. But if you're doing a contingent or you're doing something else, potentially, and this is not for everybody, but potentially you have to look in and say, well, maybe we gotta give and take.
Listen,
right?
if someone's moving out of state and it's like, listen, prices have lowered a little bit. I think you need to lower your price and they need to get out of the state. I say, well, then you weigh your options on that. Is taking a little bit less, is it worth it just to get the hell out of Dodge and get to be where you need to be to take care of your business and get your life settled? And if you can make, up that difference and it's worth it to you, then that's what you want to do. If you need every single penny and, you can take your time about things, then you kind of keep it as is.
I see what the seller's doing too, because you got highest rates. So if you take on another loan, you're taking that higher rate. But also, what if you need the money to move into that next house? Like, what if
there you go?
And that contingent offer is like, hey,
then that's a different scenario than what I was talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
These are the challenges. People don't know all of these layers and challenges.
Dude, there's a million different situations, and challenges that are going on. It really comes down custom to what your situation is, and go from there.
All right, let's segue to the next topic here, and I want to talk about Wall Street backed players boost build-to-rent market, and you're starting to see this a lot. Look, we talk about Las Vegas having only 10% of the market being, investors that are either cash or just investing, but what you're seeing is a lot of investors coming in the market to buy into single-family residence homes, renting them out, right? They're buying them specifically for rent. We're about 4 million homes short is what they're saying across the country for people out there that need a home. And then you have a couple of places that is Tricon Residential Incorporation and Arizona State Retirement System. They're got $500 million that they're investing into buying homes for single-family residents.
Who is?
These two investors. They're big investors, these giants. Now, we talk about this all the time. You're starting – look, if this market was such a terrible market, which we know it's not the market we saw, right? Let's say a couple of years ago. But – you still have people coming in this market buying homes and especially or creating homes, especially these investors. So what does this tell you guys? Your home sales are down 30%. You have 12 private label securitizations still going in and buying into rental properties. So my thing to you is, you look at the rental sector, you look at the rental markets here in Las Vegas. What do you feel? Do you feel like we're going to continue to have this shortage?
So I feel that, like as of last year on the podcast, when I was talking about BlackRock that was coming in and buying all these properties, thousands at a time, brand new home builds for the purpose of renting out entire communities. And I said, follow where the hedge fund money goes, because they're betting on the market. They're literally putting their money on the market. And what the hedge funds are betting is that home affordability won't be for the average person anymore. That'll be unattainable, and that you'll have to rent.
Look at all the apartment buildings have gone up around Henderson.
I said that last year, and then I think a couple months ago or a month ago, I said that I have a buddy on the East Coast who's the primary buyer for one of the hedge funds, and they're literally refinancing their properties, drawing out the money, and rebuying thousands of new ones. So that falls in line with that.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing the bond market do the same where, they're selling off and there's just different things happening here where I think a lot of these investors, not just in the bond market, but also in housing, they're hedging against inflation. And so they're constantly trying to take a higher yield in the bond market.
That's what I'm saying. It's a great way to park their money. We're not
parking your money. Exactly.
We're not talking about regular mom and pop investors.
Oh, no.
We're talking,
these are big giants.
When we say investors, we mean billions of dollars
They're hedge
that are coming in at a time. Yes.
And so I don't know. For me, I think that we have a shortage of homes here. I talk about this all the time. I think at a state level and a local level, we could do a lot more. We need more homes. But I think that if you see investors coming in, do you feel that we're going to have a lot of, I wouldn't say lifetime renters, but people that are just saying, you know what, if this doesn't come down, these prices don't come down and rates stay at 5%, that it's just really going to push another good population out of the market to buy altogether, and they're just going to rent. And this is what these investors are banking on is
they're literally banking on that home affordability won't be for the average person. They're literally putting their money in saying that.
What were you saying about the apartments, or what were you saying?
Oh yeah, I was just saying that, you know, all the apartment buildings are going up in Henderson. I'm in the Henderson area, and I mean they're going up like hotcakes. You know, I mean, and you know, right around the high schools, right around the school areas, they're putting in bunches of.
And so you still have all these people moving here, but a regular seller, you've got so much equity, and now the market's changed. You're not necessarily going to be in a rush to put your house on the market. Bless you. And then, so what do you have left? You have for inventory that can come on the market, brand new homes. But builders right now, they're not really building anything new right now or opening too many new communities because they've kind of put a brakes on everything. So where's it going to come from with the amount of people that are moving here?
Yeah.
Well, I think it comes down to this too, and it's like, okay, back in the Clinton area, everybody here can probably relate to this.
Slick Willie.
Oh yeah, the thing here is that he wanted 60% of Americans to own a home, right? And I think that number's declined significantly. I don't know what that number is today.
That was the start of the housing crisis.
It was.
It was.
Yeah.
Right.
Do your research.
Water.
The laws that he allowed to happen. I'm just
So
telling you.
here's my question. So here's my question. My question is, when you look at all these, you look at all these things happening with the rental sector and investors and hedge fund investors and pulling all this money, and so what do you think? I mean, do you think that what is the percentage of buyers out there, or not buyers, but just Americans are going to be owning a home, let's say in the next 3 to 5 years? Is it going to be, you know, down to 30%, 40%?
What's it right now, or what's the average?
I don't know the number, but I think that.
Then how am I supposed to tell you?
Well, you tell me though.
I don't know what the average is. Is it 50%? Is it 60%? You know, I mean, if the average is 50% and I say 30%, well, that's a lot worse than if the average is 70% and I say 30%.
So hard to predict, because it's like during the last crash. I mean, everybody was like, "Well, if I had a crystal ball, you know, I could have told you that the market was going to crash, and everybody would have been out and buying at the bottom."
But everybody drinks the same Kool-Aid.
Exactly.
You know, that's the thing, and you know, and
it's so
and
hard.
I remember talking with Dan earlier this week. I said, man, I remember in 2010, everybody's saying the market, just to catch back up to what your home is worth, is going to take 20, maybe 30 years before prices even catch back up.
It did take 10.
Yeah, to increase 234%.
No.
So check this out. We're going to
come
go over
back
here.
to normal.
Yeah.
From 2008 to 2018.
No, it didn't, but well, that's a different discussion. It's
so here's what I want to bring up. So look, this is still at 64.8% national average, national rate of home ownership in the U.S. So we're still at 60%, right? And I saw that number recently. I just didn't know the exact number, but I mean, do you think that that's going to decline? Or it's always going to be that?
I think it's going to be around that. If it does decline, it's at what, 64, almost 65%. If it did decline, maybe down to 60%, maybe high 50%.
Do you think that's high though? I mean, I don't know. Like, it just seems like that's a high number.
That's more than 6 out of 10, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a high number. That means
6.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So where are all these? You know, you look at the home shortage, and you look at all these. Everybody talks about renters. 60% of the population owns a house.
Yeah.
Right, or at least homeowners.
And they own the one you're renting.
But you've got a lot of these kids coming up right now that are in college. It's like maybe
that's a whole different generation.
That's a whole different generation
that feel like it's way unaffordable. That they'll never be able to get that.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna just run through this. No, I'm gonna run through this, and I'm done. First off, we're gonna take a look at this. Here's Brett. You could talk to me about this. This is
talk to me, baby. Talk
to me, baby. So home sales right now. Average median price home is $450, which is dropped
from last week. So last week it was what, $460?
$465. So look at that. It's $450 now.
But you know what? To be fair, remember when we were talking last week, I said the numbers for July haven't came out yet, or the full month of July and June. So, you know, that goes in line with July and August as far as prices going down.
Right.
Because they said, oh, it's only gone down so much. I said, well, I'm seeing something a little bit different. Wait till these new numbers get reported. There you go.
So let's go back over here. New listings. Okay, look at this: 3,981 new listings. Right, and
But that's gone down.
Yeah, this has gone down as well. Look at how much it's gone down.
Yeah, so everybody was like right here. Oh, the market. See, I told you.
Well, that's what I'm talking about with the new
5,000,
listings.
What's it now? What's the new listings gone down?
3,981.
So it's gone back down 1,000 listings from being on the market. So now we're back to that supply demand.
Right.
And that's what we've been talking about on this show.
Yeah.
Why is there no new listings?
Everybody right there was like, oh, it's going to, it's going to just keep on going up. Dude, and we're like, I'm telling you, it's supply and demand, and there you go.
Homes for sale right now, we have 8,551. That's just single-family residence. If you want to go to all, we have 11,300 homes.
Right? It's pretty consistent at the end, right?
Yeah, it's very
pretty
consistent.
Even. There you go.
Let's go days on the market. Okay, we talk. 25 days.
There you go.
See?
That goes in line, too, with
There you
what
go.
we were saying,
And I've been talking just
because
on
it was
Tuesday,
like 2
I said
weeks
that.
last week, and we're like,
Yeah.
dude, it's like, you
I
go
said
by
it.
last month, it's a lot longer than that now.
Yeah.
Month supply, 3.1. Let's go back and look at that 3.1. Pretty decent there. It keeps going up. You can see that trend.
Now it's kind of flat off.
And then let's do, I don't know, let's shows. I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. What do you guys?
Yeah, we're
look
good.
at this.
Price per square foot down.
254.
Well, that goes in line with the price going down. So.
Yeah, so I mean, I think
Instead of 265 a square, it's 254.
So like overall, it's still it's not a healthy market overall. It's still a good market.
Yeah.
Let's just be upfront though with these people. Like we're not seeing the influx of the amount of buyers that people think, and we're not saying that the world is on fire and that it's a great time to buy. You always talk about it's a case by case.
Yep.
And also, I want to bring up. We'll bring this up at the end of the show. So, Doug, let's talk about home warranties, man. And what?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was well. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to Ben. He called me earlier this week. And,
Nice.
Yeah. So just want to give a shout out to him. We talked about a shower pan that he had and the way it was installed and all that stuff and so I think he was a little bit more comfortable at the end of the conversation.
And you didn't even charge him anything, just a free phone call for advice from the show.
Just a free phone call.
So there you go. Doug's always there to answer all of your questions.
Doug or not, baby.
So yeah.
Doug or not.
The home, you got a bunch of people buying these new homes now, right?
Yeah.
And I think what I do when I go through these new homes with people, maybe do a little bit more explanation of they've lived in it for a year. Yeah. They go through it with the builder for about 2 hours when they buy the home, and it's like, yeah.
Okay, you can go to the title and sign right after, right?
Yeah. So
give me time to think about it.
What I do is with these new home warranty inspections is basically I just did one yesterday and went through the whole thing. They had some concerns about some ceilings that looked like they were not level. They obviously hadn't been on the roof and so I go through the whole house with them, show them where the GFIs are and show them what their arc fault breakers are in the panel, and then just kind of go through everything with them and where their main water shutoff is.
Basic house inspection 101. Here's where your mains are.
House inspection 101, and then along with that, I'm checking to make sure that everything's working accurately. As well as because there have been a few newer homes where I don't know if they had low pressures in the air conditioning units, but they weren't getting their air conditioning splits.
Gotcha.
Meaning where they have the temperature difference that's acceptable for the unit that they have, generally we like to see about a 15-degree split, plus or minus.
Yeah.
And so that in itself, make sure that everything's working properly. And so, if you're interested in just maybe learning about your home and a little bit more, and then on top of that, I'll go through and do the inspection for them as well. So, it kind of gives them the here's your house, here's how it works from the builder, and we did everything that we're supposed to do kind of thing. And they do.
Yeah.
But after living in it for a year, they become more familiar with it. And then I can go over things of why things work.
So
the
the builder's looking at it from their perspective, and when you do the home inspection for the buyer, you're looking at it from their perspective.
Strictly third party.
Through the basically through the buyer's eyes.
Yeah, through the buyer's eyes,
Yes.
and
the builder's going to look at it through their eyes to get it sold. But then you come in at the end and you're looking through it to represent the buyer and through their eyes.
And a lot of times I'll recommend that they do it at 11 months.
Yep.
Okay, so you got a 12-month warranty on your home.
there you go.
Great advice.
Yeah, and
That's a great advice.
live in it. Let
And
it
why is
set.
that important after 12? Because the first year is usually the bumper to warranty, where
Yes.
it covers everything.
That's
so
correct.
you want to have Doug come in right before that ends. In case there is anything, you can have them take care of it before your
And-
warranty ends.
And the other thing is, it's a lot more significant when it's down in writing and you've got pictures with
Yep.
it. And even if it extends past the 12-month, then you've still got it in
You've got
writing.
it in writing.
And
Yep.
you've got the pictures.
You've done
with
your
it.
due diligence.
Yeah, they've done their due diligence, and they've got everything laid out and set up.
Yeah.
Where if they do have anything going on with it.
So if you guys have any questions about getting a hold of somebody that's really good on home inspections, talk with Doug. We'll have all of his contact information in the comment section. Also, I want to bring up that home inspections are a big deal. I see a lot of listings right now where if you're making an offer and the home inspection report comes back, maybe if you're listing a home and you're an agent out there, get a home inspection up front, because I'm telling you, people now are backing out
Yeah.
because now they have options. Before it was like, hey, if there's some things, I'll work through it if you're a buyer.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, man, there's
They
11,000
felt they had
homes.
no position before,
Well,
and
yeah,
now
Now it's
I
like,
just
fix
had
it
that-
or I'm out of here.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just had that
Yeah.
scenario where I had a guy buy a new home, and I went through and did the inspection for him on his new home, and that was after he not after he closed it, but after he got the keys.
Yep.
And then he called me up about a week later and said, "Yeah, I want you to do the inspection on the home that I'm listing because I want to know everything that's going on with that too. So I'm not, and
Smart man.
Yeah, I mean, because you spend $300-400 on an
No,
inspection.
I get it, man.
Yeah.
You want to know what kind of negotiation, especially in this market. You want to know what you're working with.
Yeah.
Well before.
Yeah, no surprises.
No surprises.
Yeah.
So
So that
guys-
way you can get a fair price for your house too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have some she'll come in
It's
there.
like having
and-
that appraisal done.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here,
Yeah.
So, guys, we're going to end the show here. Thank you so much. Get a hold of Doug, Brett, have his contact information. If you guys are looking to get into buying a house, LV Home Professionals is a great place to get started. Please go here, check it out. We have a lot of great information on here. You can get a hold of us anytime. Again, we'll be back here on Tuesday, and I want to say you guys have a safe Labor Day weekend. Be safe out there driving. Hopefully everybody has fun, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday. We're out of here. Thank you for watching the French Workbench Podcast. You can find us here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. to find out all the information on real estate and financing here in Las Vegas. Also, check us out on our LV Home Professionals website. You can find your future home there, a lot of good information, and you can find us on audio.